What is up, rebel colonists and Mars citizens? I am just a simple Newtype, and in this episode we have made it to the end of Frozen Teardrop. Life will feel empty after this. Last time, Alpha escaped from Jay's captivity while Beta stayed behind. The Second Lunar War began, and while saving Long, Hoo-Dee was killed in action. This time, in the past, Zex and Trace have a duel. We see the end of the Second Lunar Wars, and in the present, Relena is judged by a tribunal. So let's conclude this. Zex and Elev go up against 200 Alliance mobile suits. A pure white grief comes into the front lines. It is Trace, and he challenges Zex to a duel. This will buy time for the rebels to withdraw. No one interferes. Oh, it's a black and white grief off. The duel becomes a violent dance. Hoo-Dee's body is dead, but her foot is still on the accelerator. Joe catches up with her after hearing Mei Lan's screams on the radio. He caught up to a state-of-the-art machine with a transport vessel? Don't think about that too hard. After saving her, Mei Lan says, "Don't call me that anymore. Call me Nataku. I will never sing again!" Even with your sister just dying? This is too much emotion. Whoever that brave internet sojourner that once said that you have to treat Wing like a stage play, they were right. Trace can see Zex tensing up. He finds an opening and Trace disarms Zex. But he does not kill him. He tells Zex to come back to Oz's specials and help Trace defeat the Alliance from within. He also says that Noin is waiting for him. Zex will accept his offer along with Elev. Trace says to Cordelia, "From this day forward, you will be called Lady Un." They bury Hoo-Dee. Master O and Wu-Fei arrive with the Tallgeese Zilong. Wu-Fei looks at the destroyed El Koenig and judges. Oh, he's judging. Duo thinks it should be called Warlock. God, I wish I knew this earlier. I would have just called it Warlock this whole time. Catra is doing hard labor for sneaking aboard his father's ship. He then runs into Alpha, the Heero Yui clone, now going by Black Alpha. He says, "Hey man, you want that mobile suit? It's yours." And the kid gets into a shuttle and takes off, never to be seen again. Zaid wants to dismantle the Proto-Zeta that Alpha left behind. Oz, with the help of Lady Un's research, sets up an attack. Their fleet uses the customized Leo 6 Low. The only information about this unit is that the insides are completely overhauled and is superior to the Grief. They also launch in Space Ares Golden Fleece units, a variant of the Ares. They dominate the rebels on the battlefield. Prometheus and Troa Barton was taken prisoner. They haven't built a self-destruct sequence yet. Duo and Mei Lan go to retrieve Prometheus before the Alliance could get to it. When they get back, Wu-Fei, Master O, and the Tallgeese Zilong is gone. It was Long's mobile suit, but after losing Hoo-Dee, he is a broken man and can't pilot anymore. AC-190, March 22nd. Artemis has taken control of the two ships, the Chiron and the Pholus. Duo and the Long family take Scheherazade, Prometheus, and Warlock, which is El Koenig. It is a mutiny. Dr. J comes on the comms and tells her to watch out for the Pyrenees Mountains. Waiting in the mountains is Beta and Wing Gundam. He takes out both the Chiron and the Pholus, killing Artemis. Dr. J says that Beta's parents died because of Artemis. He says, "That means nothing to me." Papa Long heads to MO4 to help dismantle the Gundams. But along the way, he is pursued by Kants. He unleashes a volley of missiles, killing Lao Ya. Trace and Lady Un walk into a meeting and suggest that they execute Troa Barton to help lower morale. General Septum objects, but Lady Un has evidence that he committed acts of treason, including having ties to the Bartons. They confine Septum until they can conduct a court-martial. They instead use Dekim Barton to negotiate a ceasefire. October 26, AC-190. Foreign Minister 12 Darlian, along with Dekim Barton and General Clarence, sign an armistice bringing an end to the Second Lunar War. Who's Clarence? MC-0022, next winter. Relena takes off her visor. She calls herself Relena Darlian and throws away the name Peacecraft once again. Now that she has read the Perfect Zex files, they get word that Cyrene Wynn has regained consciousness. Father Maxwell meets with Lady Un, who found a way to travel secretly to Mars. She is chief aide to the Earthsphere United Nations president, which is Kathy. With him is a man wearing a hat that goes by Heero. It is Alpha. The other Heero clone has been alive and has been an irregular, ignoring mass surveillance all these years. I assume he is old, unlike Beta. He wants to help bring forth a revolution on Mars. Lady Un watched over Marimea after Endless Waltz. It wasn't until AC-204 that they learned that she is in fact a clone of Leia Barton. It's true, no one has sex in this universe. She was one of the clones along with Odin Lowe Jr., which created Alpha. Marimea eventually married and had her own life. The Preventers helped with Dorothy Catalonia's presidential campaign. A riot broke out, and during this, a man accidentally fired on Sally Poe, killing her. This is when a crackdown on irregulars began, along with the forced surveillance in the form of citizenship. One irregular captured was Alpha, going by Black Alpha now. Lady Un knows of his existence, it seems. She decides to use him to conduct Black Op missions for her, and he could remain an irregular. Volcanus was seized by the Rockefeller Foundation. Eventually, Neuenheim Konzer got their hands on it and started moving it towards Mars over the course of 13 years. Volcanus is in between Deimos and Phobos. Vaunt Kushonada launches a Black Cerberus unit, which is just a Mars suit. He links it to the Zero System, thinking his opponent will do the same. Master Chang approaches an Epion Bai and transforms it into its three-headed wyvern form. Are these even mobile suits at this point? Master Chang thinks of Melan and turns off his Zero System. We learn of the Janus Mirror, which stabilizes the Mars electromagnetic field and helped with terraforming. It also can be used to create electromagnetic storms. Dr. T, Catherine, and Professor W set charges to black out Janus, possibly causing mass deaths. But it will momentarily deactivate the Perfect Peace program. Catra gives Relena the remote detonator to allow her to make the choice. While fighting, there is a lag, and Vaunt Kushonada runs tests to see what it is. It turns out the lag is caused by Wu Fei not having the Zero System on. In reality, Wu Fei is turning it on and off, something he learned when fighting Zex. This is all a distraction from blowing up Janus. Vaunt says that he hates him for killing his brother. He says, "Do not wish to be loved. Keep loving," something Trace once said. The Grand Chariot comes in to help. Vaunt panics and launches Virgo 4s. However, the boys override their system with an old password. "You fool, you gotta change your passwords!" Professor T and the others take control of Cerberus, grab Wu Fei, and make their way into Volcanus. They broadcast Relena's tribunal from Babel with Zax Marquise residing over the court. Relena admits to her crimes, but refuses to admit that total pacifism is a false ideology. Zax tells her total pacifism is what drove many to an early grave. It is a contradiction to freedom. Relena says that debate does not require force. They strike her charge against false ideology off the record, but still sentence Relena to death and force her to sign the surrender. Heero is to carry out the sentencing, so he instantly pulls out a gun, but he also pulls out a pen and gives it to Relena. This is the remote trigger for Janus. Push this, and many weapons go dark. But the war will continue. Before she can make a decision, Babel is attacked. It happens to be Cyrene Wind. Remember, he was taken out by Zex earlier. Damn, that was like 6 volumes ago. He is with Mars suits. He is with the Queen of Hearts, Naina, and the King of Spades, Millie. Cyrene tanks attacks while the kids attack Babel. In Relena City, Father Maxwell yells at a TV. This is like the moment in the anime where he watches his Gundam get destroyed on live television. Also, what are you doing right now? Why are you just in the city? He incites a mob. Some guys say, "Wait a minute, you're Father Maxwell. You're trash." We learn that Alpha and Father Maxwell are trying to start a riot. Alpha also has a cat that looks like Sabrina's old cat. Joe mentions that he is an irregular too. Alpha says, "No, you're not. You were married. You think they didn't tag you then?" He knows of Father Maxwell's records and also knows that he never got a divorce, so he is still married to Hildy. Duo says, "Damn it!" Epion Bai takes down mobile dolls inside Volcanus. Vaunt realizes that Disnoof has taken full control and left him without a mobile suit. He decides that he will self-destruct Volcanus. Dr. T, Professor W, and Catherine confront Disnoof. Dr. T doesn't hesitate and shoots Disnoof right in the head. He knows this wouldn't kill him. His skin is made of Jovian alloy that we saw during the St. Kingdom incident. Professor reads the manual on Disnoof's body. Who made that manual? Catherine then takes him apart, leaving just his torso and head. He could probably survive in space, so they think about letting him drift into space for all eternity. They tell him to spill the beans. He admits to the Lana Green disaster and to faking his death to awaken Relena. They find out that there is a release code for the Perfect Peace program. We also learn that the Zero System couldn't predict Heero. It seems that the Zero System's predictive outcomes rely on time moving forward for humans. When Heero went into cryo, the Zero System wasn't able to predict his outcome. I would have totally forgiven this entire series if the writer in this moment just says that the Zero System can't predict Heero because he's just so good. Deal with it. Nope. But it does look like there is some truth to the heart of space. It isn't entirely nonsense. Keeping it as vague as possible, Master Chang stops Vaunt from self-destructing. Chang tells Vaunt to live to carry out Trace's will. He is insecure about being a clone, but everyone's a clone in this universe. He says that Vaughn should rebuild Oz. Heero tells Relena to push the trigger, but she destroys it instead. She says total pacifism, bitch, and drops the trigger like she's dropping a mic. She then signs the surrender and accepts defeat. Heero pulls out his gun and shoots Relena in the head, killing her. He then turns around and fires on Zex, showing that he is a hologram. This is broadcast so it's shown to the whole world. Disnoof is currently Zex. But if you're wondering how Disnoof is on Volcanus and Zex is on Babel, it's because holograms. This was hinted at throughout the last 4 volumes, but I didn't mention it because I thought it would ultimately tie into the story in a more cohesive way and would make for a good discussion at the end. But no, it's just a hologram. It's just that simple and stupid. Sometimes theory crafting leads to disappointment. But I didn't expect that the Zero system is controlling it, and it is not Disnoof. I don't know, man. They learn that Relena is also a hologram. Cyrene Wynn comes on the broadcast revealing that he is Milliardo Peacecraft. He states that he was assumed dead and Relena became president, but he is alive. So he takes the presidency back and nullifies Relena's reign. They won't surrender and the war will continue on. Katerin and Scheherazade comes in to assist Millie, though Millie doesn't want her help. On the ground, Baby Duo and Warlock helps Naina. Warlock activates its Fenrir mode. Prometheus launches Snow White at Babel. Heero fires on all Virgos. He loses his cloak to finally reveal that Snow White looks like Proto-Zero. Zex prepares the Zwolf Zwerg to fire on Snow White. Prometheus uses the Cruciform cannon, taking out more Virgos. Tallgeese Heaven is badly damaged, but he hands Heero the Gold Field, the final loadout for the 7 Dwarves system. This is an upgrade of the Nano Defensor once on the Tallgeese Heaven. It unleashes an EMP that will take out Zex, since he's just a computer apparently. Babel fires its cannon. Snow White pushes Tallgeese out of the way. Babel prepares a second shot towards Relena City. But Snow White survived and is barely hanging on, just like the end of Endless Waltz. And just like Endless Waltz, Heero fires on Babel with the Gold Field. Zex and Epion tries to stop Heero before firing. The gold arrow goes through Epion and also takes out Babel in the process. The remains of Epion crash into Heero and they both fall to the ground. Of course, Zex wasn't in the cockpit, but his Zero system is offline. Heero is on the verge of death. Relena goes to his side. They suggest to Relena to kiss him to wake him up. She kisses Heero, but he does not wake. He's fine. MC 0023, First Spring. The Martian Civil War ended with the defeat of the Southern Mars Confederate States. Milliardo remained as president for the remainder of his term. He, Noin, Billy, and Naina lived out their lives on a farm. The next president elected was James Clark Maxwell. That's Father Maxwell's real name? He and the First Lady Hildy still fight to this day and continue their hate-filled relationship. Just give it up at this point. Relena and Heero lived a peaceful life at the Winter Hospital. Relena finally gives up the Peacecraft name forever. Heero decides to give up the name Heero Yui. Like the last episode of the anime, Heero gives Relena a piece of paper. She doesn't rip it up this time. The paper says, "Will you marry me?" She agrees. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Frozen Teardrop. It's over, everyone. We're finally free. The coverage for this is so long that we are going to have to do an epilogue episode to wrap everything up. But one thing I will say is that this isn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be. This just needs a good editor and needs to be cut in half. Cut all the fluff. The problem comes with the fact that Endless Waltz supposedly solves the world peace problem, and there doesn't need to be more story after that. And world peace was solved. The end. Mars now found world peace. But what happens when they terraform other planets? I guess we do it all over again. Oh my god, is that the Endless Waltz they're referencing? Now that we have finished Frozen Teardrop, we can return to our coverage of Glory to the Losers. Probably should have covered this first. There is also the Preventer 7 manga and a Code Geass crossover, but I don't think your Jibuwos can handle it. But that will do it for now, losers. Now to seek the emptiness this series has left in my heart. Oh no, I've become a dramatic Gundam Wing character. Peace.